Good evening, all. Welcome to the May 23rd, 2022 regular meeting of the Town of Easton Planning and Zoning Board. In keeping with an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, as amended by Governor Baker on February 12th, 2022, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. To use Zoom, you can follow the link on the agenda or download the application. While conducting meetings remotely, we will endeavor to keep the meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. However, use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. While board members and applicants will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as attendee, meaning they are muted with no video feed for them. During the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized by using the raised hand function or the Q&A function. If you are joining only by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. Excuse me. Board members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion and second, so that it will be clear to the audience and minute takers who made the motion. All votes will be by roll call. To ensure we have a quorum, I will now take a roll call. Greg Strange present.
Peter Duchesne here.
Robert Stetson here.
Deborah Balsara here.
Chris, you want to chime in?
Oh, I thought I did already. Chris Anderson here.
Very good. We have a full board. Thank you, one and all. And just for folks in the audience, I see we have a lot of attendees. We'll be continuing them when we get to them, but just so you know, the public hearings for 560 Foundry Street, Sawmill Village, 20 South Street, Old Forge Commons, and the special permit hearing for 6 Hill Street are all continued to our next meeting. So let's see, first up, we have a request for a lot release, 41 Kingsbrook Way. Stephanie, the floor is yours.
We have Scott Syatt here. And this request came in. Mr. Syatt came by the office the other day, and I did promote Mr. Syatt. It's a little slow tonight. I believe this is Mr. Syatt. Came by the office the other day and was asking about a lot release for this last lot in the, I'm not sure, I think it's probably one of the Camelot subdivisions, but it's Kingsbrook Way. All the other lots were released and the releases recorded. However, this one never, the release, it appears, never was recorded. And the house, it's a lot that's been built on and a house that was developed. So the presumption is that without doing a lot of extensive research, that the lot was released. And there's no reason for the board not to issue a second lot release on it.
Couldn't have said it better. Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay, board members, any questions or comments? Hearing none. Anyone in the audience, questions or comments? No, seeing nothing. Someone care to make a motion?
Motion to approve a lot release at 41 Kingsbrook Way, Stetson.
Anderson second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor, Strange eye.
Duchesne here.
Stetson, aye.
Anderson aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you very much. How would I go about picking that up?
Suzanne will notify you when it's ready if you want to pick it up. Otherwise, we mail it.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, members of the board, Mr. Chairman, and Stephanie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next up is, I believe it's an internally illuminated sign for Citgo. some reason. Building
And
department.
if whoever's, I think we have a representative from the sign company, if they could raise their hand.
Yes, 74 Main Street. There is one hand raised. Chris Hutwelker.
Oh,
forgive me
there
if
we
I-
go. Yep, got it.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you for your time tonight.
Hi, good evening. If you could just give your name and address for the record, please, and then the floor is yours.
Yes, Chris Allwalker from Ready Imaging. Our address is 169 Progress Drive, Manchester, Connecticut.
Thank you. And what do you have for us?
So the purpose of our application tonight is that the Sitco is getting re-imaged and the owner would like to change the price sign to LED and also add downlighting to his canopy. So in the packet that we provided, we did include pictures of what the new sign will be. It's going to be the same square footage as before. And we also provided what the light bar looks like on the canopy, along with a picture of a recently done Sitco for your comparison.
Mr. Chair, could Mr. Hutwelker share his screen and show the images?
Absolutely.
So as you can see from this page, this is what his current price sign looks like. And what we are proposing is this sign right here. It has three prices similar to as before. The diesel price is green as what is Sitco's current standard, and then the regular and premium remain blue with the red digits. And again, this sign is the same size as his existing sign, just a slightly different shape, more square instead of rounded corners. So this is a picture of what the canopy, the proposed canopy will look like. As you can see, it's eyebrow on three sides. The lighting goes right here. And the Sitco are illuminated on three sides. So for comparison purposes, let me just rotate this. So this is a Sitco that we just did very recently, just minus the triangle right here. But this is what it shows like when it is illuminated at night. This is on the same timer as the canopy lights. So the hours that the gas station is open is 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So at 10 p.m., all the lights do go off, including around the canopy. And that's really just the two major changes that the owner would like to see.
So I have a question regarding the LED price lighting. Is that because animated lighting is not allowed in our bylaw? So that is just a static fixed number?
Correct.
And have you been to the historical commission on this yet?
No, we have that presentation on Wednesday of this week.
Stephanie, do you have anything?
No, that was my one comment I was going to make, Greg, that the bylaw doesn't allow moving images. And the assumption was this was going to be a static. Once the prices change, then they will stay lit until they change again. And presumably the lights go out at night anyway after 11 o'clock because that's part of the zoning mandate anyway.
Board members? Questions, comments?
So in the past, I think we disapproved the LED price sign at Washington and Foundry, but then we approved the LED sign at Washington and Elm. So it's kind of had a mixed history on these.
Right, this one's a little tricky, being in the local historic district, and I'm a member of the historical commission, but that's not in our purview tonight. And Peter's
And
like,
if I'm,
go ahead, Stephanie.
oh, I'm sorry, I was just going to add to what Peter said. I believe the approval for the price signs on Washington and Elm came after the previous site. That's my
Yeah,
recollection.
yeah, right, yeah, it was, yeah, so those, yeah, Washington and Elm was after, like so I was kind of surprised when we disapproved the one, at Foundry and 106, and then approved the one farther up on 138 North, so, but just a comment there.
We're only human. What do you guys think? Think LED price lighting is fitting of the neighborhood? Think it doesn't matter? Think it matters? Don't care? Care?
I think it does matter. I'd like to hear what the historical commission has to say.
I think that LED lighting in that location, along with the illuminated sign, may be drawing more attention than what we might like for the historic district. But I also would like to hear what the historic district would, or historic committee would say about it.
So are we entertaining perhaps taking a vote on everything and putting the LED on hold until we hear from the historical, or do you want to put the whole thing on hold till you hear from historical? Which I believe they're meeting this Wednesday, so we'd act on it at our next meeting. If you want.
Well, how would we do that?
We would, well, we have a couple options. We could take a motion to approve the whole thing. We could take a motion to disapprove. We could take a motion to approve everything except for the LED and wait to hear from historical on that, or you could take a motion to approve everything excluding the LED. I mean, there's nothing that require, I mean, historical doesn't have to act based on our vote, nor us them. And I tried to stay quiet on this one, just being a member, but I agree with the two previous speakers in terms of I think it's a bit much for the LED.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question of
Sure.
the applicant? How bright is the canopy lighting actually going to be? Because that image looks very bright.
It is the same lumens as underdeck lighting that currently exists.
Thank you.
And will it be around the perimeter, like shown in the picture here, or is it just the one side?
It will be on 3 sides. The only side it will not have on is the back side closest to the store.
And I guess if I could ask for further clarification. So you say it's the same. I'm going to rephrase it a little bit and you can tell me if I'm saying this right or not. But the underlighting is the same as the current underlighting, the lumens. What about because the border of, or the signage that makes up the border of the canopy, that is also lit, correct?
Correct.
And is the signage currently lit today?
I don't believe it is.
So then what's the brightness of the canopy?
Has there been a photometric plan?
No, there has not been.
And the canopy lighting is staying the same. We're just dealing with the sign, correct?
Okay. Yeah, maybe we call it the face sign, or I'm not sure what that's called, but yeah.
Except,
Yes, what we're going for approval is Citgo letters to be illuminated. And then right at the top, you can kind of see right here, there's little LEDs on the eyebrow that it butts up about 3 inches away from the fascia, then just lights up this fascia that's right here. That's about 36 inches.
Okay, so it's not illuminated from behind the panel.
No, it's illuminated right at the top of the panel.
and again, that border of on the canopy is not lit today. If you could go back to the existing,
Sure.
Because that's interesting, because that's not really part of the sign when you think of it,
Right.
right? So I'm wondering, you know, if it's readily available, if perhaps we could get because it is a site plan change, the lighting of it. Perhaps we could get a photometric of it to make sure it's within our bylaws.
Yeah.
Because it is very close, obviously, to the, you know, you can't spill over a 1-foot candle under the property. And I can see it's going to happen at the pylon sign. I'm just wondering what's happening with the canopy. So I thought, if I read the paperwork, maybe I misread it. I thought it was just looking to light up the 5 letters, not the entire facade
Yeah,
of the canopy.
So just to clarify, so the under canopy lighting, there is existing under canopy lighting, and that light level will remain the same, correct?
That is correct.
And then you mentioned that on the perimeter sign where the Citgo is, that LED strip lighting, did you say that is the same lumen count as the under?
Correct. It's the same brightness.
Okay, and that was how many lumens again?
I don't have the exact number,
Oh,
unfortunately.
okay, and so that would be one change, having that LED strip light. And then in addition to that, the lights, this actual signage, the Citgo sign itself will be internally illuminated, which is different than what currently exists.
Correct.
Are these, I don't actually recall, it's crazy, I probably drive by plenty of times, but is this sign, is the Citgo letters lit up at all currently?
No, they're not illuminated.
Okay. So we're basically talking about lighting up the logo, and then also lighting up the canopy. And then as a separate issue, we're talking about the LED for the prices. Yeah, that seems like potentially a lot more.
I would like 2 things. I think, in light of this, because I mean, it's a minor one, but it is a site plan change. It's in sort of a sensitive area. I'd like I think it's I think it's warranted that a photometric plan be submitted. And in the meantime, we can wait and hear what the historical commission has to say, and we could take this up at our next meeting, because this is more than just a sign.
I just have another question. Is the Grampy sign, is that remaining as is, or is that being replaced too?
The Grampy sign is remaining as is.
Okay, and then the location stays the same, right, of that
Correct.
signpost?
And the
Yep,
LED
and the
is
main
going,
Citgo sign stays
the
the same
L-
as well.
and the LED lighting of the gas price is going to be under the Grampy sign, correct?
Correct. Same location as it currently is.
And does the Citgo pylon sign, the one to the left, does that light up now? I can't remember. It's funny how you take these things for granted.
Yes.
So it will be possible.
So we want 6 light up signs.
I have a question. Would it be possible to summarize the changes between the existing conditions and the new conditions from the point of view of lighting, and add to that all the photometric stuff? I think that's what we need.
Okay, we can put something together.
Yeah,
Greg,
and I
may I
think when you think of, signage is important sometimes to draw attention to a business, maybe on a busier road. In this location, it's pretty evident that there's a gas station in that location. And so it's not a matter, whereas sometimes maybe like on like a road that's like 45 miles an hour, and people, well, hopefully aren't driving that fast here. They might notice that there's a gas station there and that it's open during like a normal business hours, but just a thought.
Stephanie, did you have something you want to say?
Oh, I was just going to ask if you or someone had, and maybe it was Deb, had asked if the revolving Citgo sign is currently lighted.
Yes, we were told it was lit. It is lighted.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I made a point of driving by one night, but I can't remember if the Citgo letters are lit that are on the canopy. I
Currently,
want,
they're not.
They're
not.
So what's going to happen to summarize? So under the Grampy sign, where that red
yep,
white sign, those, they want the digital prices of gas there. The Citgo sign on the pylon to the left of this photo, which lights up, is going to remain lighting up. The word Citgo on the facade of or the fascia of the canopy is going to, they want to light up on 3 sides, front, left, and right. And thinking back to the photo that the gentleman showed us of one done, the entire top of the fascia is going to be lit. So to Peter's point, I mean, I think that's a bit too much light. We are in the middle of a local historic district. We're in the middle, it's a residential district as well. So and I understand wanting to advertise your business, but remember the days of Wayne Benson? We always talked about dark sky compliant. This isn't going to be anywhere near dark sky compliant. And you can tell it's already going to spill over to other properties. So I think we need to see possibly a photometric, or if we just want to take action on this tonight too. I don't want to stymie you guys, whatever you guys feel, but I think it's a bit overkill, frankly, given the historic area. So do we want to wait and hear what the historical says?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to continue to the next meeting pending the result of the historical commission meeting, and also if the applicant wants to go forward with this option after our comments, then also a photometric plan.
I'll second it.
I'll let you decide who gets that one, Suzanne.
Sure.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor, strange eye.
Shane, aye.
Balsaric, aye.
That's an aye.
Anderson, I.
Kevin, aye.
All right, unanimous. So, Mr. Hotwerkel, and forgive me if I butchered your name. So if you have any questions, you can follow up with Stephanie Danielson.
Yeah, thank you all for your
Our
time.
next
tonight.
meeting is
Well,
the 6th, June 6th.
Perfect. Thank you for your time, and
Thank you
we'll
very
see
much.
some of you guys on Wednesday.
All right, let's see. Next up, okay, so we need a motion to continue to June 6th, Sawmill Village, 560 Boundary Street. Anybody?
Motion to continue 560 Foundry Street to June 6th. Stetson.
Anderson, second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, strange eye.
That's an aye.
Anderson, I.
Balsaric, aye.
All right, that's all.
Kevin, aye.
Next, oh, sorry, I must have put you in there. So that's unanimous. Next, we have the same. We need a motion to continue to June 6th, Old Forge Commons, 20 South Street.
Motion to continue 20 South Street to June 6th. Stetson.
Anderson, second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, strange eye.
Shane, aye.
Stetson, aye.
Anderson, I.
Balsaric, aye.
Kevin, aye.
It's unanimous. Great, thank you. And next we have continued. Keeps killing. Keeps dying. Continued site plan review, 507 Boundary Street.
okay, let's see, Bill Adams. We'll go to panelists first. Oh,
We all set?
I have Bill
Okay,
Adams
so,
here and Jim Burke.
okay, so who's ever presenting, just name and address for the record, please.
I'll just make the initial, Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board, thank you for this evening. Attorney Jim Burke and I have the pleasure of representing Bill Adams in relation to this project. I know the matter's been before you today, before, and hopefully we can close this tonight. By history, I'm sure you're aware that the Zoning Board of Appeals was kind enough to issue a use decision in relation to the proposal for the restaurant, coffee shop, and the ATM. And we know that's subject, of course, to this board's final approval of the site plan. Bill has made some accommodations after getting good information from members of the planning department of the town. And we hope this is a project that you will be able to approve. And Bill, go ahead and review for them the various changes to the plan that bring us here.
Okay, hello, good evening. This is Bill Adams. I have a revised alternate plan that we used at the ZBA. And I also sent it over for Stephanie to review the location. We moved the dumpster to the back. I can,
Mr. Adams, can I just interrupt just for a second? What is the, I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. What is the date of the most current plan?
the date of the most current plan is 5/16/22. And
You know,
that's,
Fred,
Okay.
I'm looking
see.
at what's in.
Sheet
what
3
we were-
has that date. I see that in sheet 4. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Stephanie.
No, that's, I think sheet 3 is the one that shows the significant change.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5. Okay, go ahead, Miss Adams. Sorry, I just want to make sure.
okay, so I have the plan and I was gonna bring it up on the screen, but I don't see the share icon.
Oh, you know what, Bill, I need to promote you as panelist, so if you'll hold on a
Okay.
second, let me do
Okay.
that. It'll take a minute while we move him over. Okay, so Bill, you can unmute, and I think you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, do you see that screen?
Yes,
Okay, so first off, we moved the dumpster up into the back corner. We sent the plan and an email to the Conservation Commission, to Jennifer Carlino, and she responded today that that was an acceptable location. So I think that's where the board wanted to see it, or in that general area. So we've accomplished that. Secondly, we eliminated all the lanes coming in that went through the multiple directions for the 2 drive-ups, and we moved the ATM from this corner over to the opposite end of the building. By doing that, it gets rid of the congestion over here, and it allows the lanes to flow, stay in the lane that you want, depending on what you want to do, if you want to buy coffee or go to the ATM. So that's our newest location. I did have a traffic consultant review the original location and the alternate location. And his letter, I uploaded his letter, and I have it if you want me to pull it up. And he actually had no problem with either location, but he said the alternate location would clean up any congestion over on that right side. So that's what we've decided to present as our final location. I also have plans to where we dug out where the canopy was. We're going to be blacktopping from the entrance all the way up to the back of the building. On the exit side, we're going to be asphalting on the entrance side up to about midpoint of the building. Then any place, I walked the site with the contractor from 9 Construction that does asphalt, and I asked him to put a letter together for me stating how he felt that the condition of the asphalt was. And he did not send that letter, so I don't have it. However, he did express that there's where we dug up the asphalt already. There's 2 layers of asphalt there, 2 complete layers. So there's 6 inches of asphalt down on this property. So he felt there's some trenches that were put in for some repairs before I owned the property. And I'm not sure if they were for the septic or what they were for. We would cut all of that out of there. Anywhere there's patches or anything like that, we'd cut them all out and then we'd put a layer over that whole thing. So essentially we'd be asphalting probably 3/4 of the entire parking lot. We will also seal coat the entire parking lot and stripe it. And, you know, he has assured me that that'll last.
Is that your presentation?
Yes, yes. Well, also there's over to the left over here, there's the slab for the dumpster pad. That was something that I reviewed, I sent over to Jennifer and she reviewed that. So, and I don't know if the last time we had bushes added down here on the island. I'm not sure if that was on the last plan or not, but we added those and we were going to put some on the other side as well. So I think the plan is much better, flowing wise and safety wise. And we addressed we put like a patio out in the front. We have shrubs around it and bushes around it, and we'll put a couple of maybe lights out there or something to make it look very nice. You know, I have a lot of commercial properties and I build my properties, I make them look brand new. This building was an old building. It could have been patched up and made to look better. I don't know if anybody's driven by there, but I've ripped everything off the building and I'm putting all hardy board siding on the top, clapboards on the bottom. I put a new roof. I stripped all the old roof off, so we'll never have a problem with the roof. And the roof I put on is a lifetime roof. And we've taken all the aprons around the building off. And we're putting new aprons around the building and building current regulations for the handicap ramp on this side on the right. We're bringing it up to pretty much to today's standards on all the regulations.
As required by code. That's very good. Okay, so board members, or Stephanie, do you have anything you want to add?
The only comment I have at this point in time, I mean, I think the ATM along the other side makes a lot of sense. And again, it eliminates that crossover. You have one lane heading up and then you make a decision and there you go. I would like, if the board votes to approve, a condition that the applicant work with me to come up with a planting schedule that uses as much native material as possible. I have a sense of what they're trying to go for, and I think there are native plantings that can be used to accomplish that.
Your phone's ringing. It's Audie. Okay, yeah, and I think if planting, I think it would be nice to run that by the board for our education as well.
Okay, sounds good to me.
And do we, I don't know, maybe I missed this before. I don't know if this was always here, but the illuminated enter and exit signs. Do we have plans on those or any details? Because internally illuminated signs, as we know.
No,
right.
Actually, I don't think we've seen those.
The sign company is handling the permitting for Aroma Joe's. So they will be submitting those signs.
Okay, so we'll have to note if this is approved, any motion and the decision would have to note that those signs cannot be illuminated unless approved by the board. Board questions, comments?
Well,
Well, I'm very pleased to see that the dumpster is relocated in the location that's presented. So I think that's a huge plus. And I think that the changes that you made definitely have improved the flow and overall look of the plan. So thank you.
do we know what is a lighting plan? There was some mention in that meeting that we are keeping what is in there. What else is being added in order to illuminate this area?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Lighting. If you can explain what is being done for lighting.
I'd like to
Well,
know what the plan is for lighting.
Okay, so the lighting for the back parking lot is on a pole existing, and that shines down on the parking lot. On the
Is that pole
building,
shown on the plans?
that's shown on the plan. It's right around, right up, can you see right there? It says, I think, existing light. There's a pole right there.
Oh,
I can
EXL2.
see it, yeah.
Yeah. On the building itself, they were going to add some sconces lighting down on the building.
Are those
I don't-
called out? Because this is all required for site. Are these called out on the plan?
They're not on the plan that I've seen. They haven't really confirmed where they'd like to put the lights. I am only doing, I'm doing the exterior. I'm doing the build out. I'm giving them a vanilla box, so to speak. And then they're
Right, but you're responsible for the site, and this is site plan review. And if you
Yep.
read our bylaws and rules and regs, one of the main things required are lighting plans. We
Okay.
talked about this in the first meeting. So I don't understand why that would be the responsibility of Aroma Joe's, but whatever, that's, I'm not
Well,
privy to your business deal. But
yes.
we need that's something that's required on a site plan. I mean, it's pretty standard. Not trying to be
Okay.
difficult, but I mean,
Right.
like
Well-
property lines.
They hire the electrician.
That means nothing to me. The electrician has
Right.
nothing to do with the site plan.
No, it has the lights in the building. They actually have a set of plans, but I'd have to look and see if it shows lights on it, but it was done by an MEP engineer for the Aroma Joe's and given to the electrician. Those plans were uploaded to the planning board. It's a full set of Aroma Joe's plans. I can look and see if I,
Yeah, but again, sir, all due respect, we're not the building department, we're the planning board. We have no say over the building plans.
okay,
Any recorded document, any document that we're approving, it's a site plan.
right,
And so site plans are where site lighting, whether it's existing or proposed. I mean, typically on a job like this, we would get the locations called out. We very often would get a photometric plan. We have, this has existing light. We have no idea how powerful that light is. Does it cover the whole parking lot? Does it handle the requirements of our bylaw and of our site plan requirements?
right. The lights that light the parking lot, there's a light on the pole up on the front, and there's a light on the pole in the back. That basically lights up the parking lot. Previously, they had a light at the back of the building on the gable facing down, and they had a light on the front of the building. I'm proposing putting in some lights out front to light up the patio area. The sconces don't really light the parking lot. They just shine down on the building.
Is this, for example, the stairway, is that going to be lit?
Well, there's an overhang and there's a light under the overhang. There's an overhang on the back where the back door is. and there's a light up in that overhang. So it lights the
It would just be
stairway.
nice if either one of these were shown on the plan, the overhang. Because think of it, we approve the plan, somebody falls, breaks a leg, or heaven forbid, something worse, and then they want to sue the town. And we can go, well, hey, they told us there was going to be a light in the overhang, and they're going to say, you know what? You approved the plan that doesn't show any lights, and we're going to sue the town because it's unsafe. That's why we go through all this. We're not trying to eat up people's time or money. We all have better things to do with our lives. We're trying to approve or plans that meet all the requirements of the town.
Right.
And it's not, I mean, lighting's just always included on a plan. It's one of the, Stephanie, am I wrong here? Or board
No.
members?
No, you're not. No.
I'm not, I know we all want to wrap this up. I'm tired of talking about this project, but I don't understand why it's so difficult to get the most basic safety information on this plan. So, board members, questions, comments? And let me ask you a question. I know I was one of them kind of barking about, the problem, this isn't a bank. So the problem I have with this ATM is it really causes a traffic issue either way. And I think the location it is now, in my opinion, is safer and less congested than where it was originally. The problem is, hopefully this is a successful business and there's a line of people waiting to get their coffee. Someone's going to pull, and I see there's 20.3 feet between, I'm assuming, the striped line, because we don't have curbs, and I guess the property line. I guess that's the amount of pavement. So I'm wondering, okay, we know parking spaces are usually 9 or 10 feet wide. But is someone going to pull up to that ATM, perfectly and just, car, what's the width of a car? 7 or 8 feet. But, hopefully the ATM, the people park close to it so that the folks that aren't using the drive-through and are following all the nicely painted arrows and just want to leave the site can get by.
Well,
I guess I just, and you're not going to propose a light up sign for the ATM, are you?
on the ATM, the ATM it's lit up on the front of it where you go up to the window. It's not a super bright light or anything, but it is lit up, so you can see what you're doing.
But there's not going to be there's not a separate light up sign above it or next to it. Just the unit itself is lit. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the unit itself is lit and it's lit down. They typically, if they're going to apply for a sign, they would apply for it to be on the pylon where the other sign for Aroma Joe's would be. But I don't have a contract from a bank yet. I'm dealing with a couple of different banks. So that's something they'd have to, if I get this approved, I'm going to put a pad in and bollards and wait, and try to negotiate my lease with the bank. And at that point they're going to have to petition for a sign. Typically their signs are not very big. They're about 12 inches by about 24 inches, depending on the name of the bank. And a lot of times they just put ATM in.
So I don't see any bollards on the plan or on the ATM. Are they going to be cutting into the 12-foot and 20.3 feet of paving width?
They would be on the corners, the 4 corners of that pad that's there.
So they won't be reducing those dimensions.
It just protects the equipment. So
I understand what bollards do. I'm saying, but they're not going to be reducing the width that's shown.
No.
Okay, because again, why aren't bollards on this plan? There's just so much base. Every week we look at this and there's so much basic info that is always on site plans. I don't understand why they're not on this plan. I'm not trying to be difficult, but
they are
it's important stuff. Because if you come in, because you know what happens, you're not on site one day and your guys come in to put bollards in, and it's miscommunicated or they misunderstand, and all of a sudden they reduce that width to 10 feet and 18 feet. Well, I don't want to pull it out, or maybe you don't even notice it.
Right.
This is why we have plans. That's, so things can be approved and then built as approved, not built and then hopefully we approve what you put up ahead of time.
Right. There are bollards on all 4 corners. I enlarged the plan.
Show them on the plan.
Yes. And there's also bollards on each side of the drive-up windows,
Wherever there's bollards, I want them on the plan.
right?
I want a complete site plan.
Right.
This is not, forgive me. I don't mean to get frustrated, but this is,
Greg, could I just add,
go right ahead.
the symbols are shown on the plan, but they're very hard to see. So Mr. Adams, I think what you want to do is label them.
It should be
so that
labeled.
they're
Yeah.
called out.
Right, okay.
What's this striped area at the rear of the property, on the other side of the, where the dumpster, the old dumpster location?
What's on the opposite side?
Well, there, I see stripes. Or am I looking at an old plan? Oh, yeah, no, the stripes back there.
So move your cursor to the right,
To the right of the
Right.
dumpster?
to the right.
Those are-
Continue
All the way to
moving
the
to
other
the right.
corner of the property in the rear. So yes, towards McGuire's in the back.
I don't understand what you're saying.
I think you need to move your, continue to move your cursor to the right to that. I think what Peter's talking about is that hashed area.
Over here?
Is that what you're asking about, Peter?
Yeah, right in the back.
Yes.
Yeah. This is just striping on the pavement. I'm keeping this open because the neighbor, when their trucks come in
Oh,
for
right.
deliveries, they back in, they come in and they back in and then they drive out.
Okay, and then what are those, the lines that are sort of horizontal to the plan in the striped area? Are those, what are those? Those extra
Uh,
lines.
Which one again?
Back in that same section, it looks like, I can't tell if there are lines denoting parking spots or what those are, but,
These are parking spaces and these are parking spaces.
okay, all right, that's fine. All right, thank you.
And these are parking spaces as well.
There's 5 parking spaces. Share with Aroma, Joe, and McGuire's.
You want me to blow it up a little bigger? I can have the engineer add the bollard labels everywhere there's a bollard. And I can resubmit that tomorrow if it's,
And he should, and it's standard to submit a detail of the bollards as well. I'm sure he has
Okay.
one on his files.
right.
So board, how do we want to handle the lighting?
So just to clarify, I know you said that there's already existing lighting for the parking lot and that the signage company is handling any internally illuminated signage. And then you mentioned that there were a couple of new sconces. Is it just the 2 new sconces that are being added, or you're not really sure the extent of what lighting is being added or adjusted?
Well, their typical buildings that they build show sconces lighting down the side of the building a little bit. They're not super bright. They're just lighting up the building around the sides. You know, the lights that are under the canopies that are there for the main entrance is a recessed light. And the same as in the back as a recessed light. But then there's a couple on the sides that are sconces that light downward. And,
All right,
and
so-
I,
Oh, go ahead.
and I was going to put some lighting up in the front since we added the outdoor patio. I was going to put some lighting out there. I've been looking at different things. And I could run them by Stephanie to look at, and if she's in favor of them, I'll add them to the plan.
So, I mean, I would say that I mean, I'm not gonna, again, yeah, speak for the board, but I would say that it sounds like the lighting that they have is fairly standard, so we probably would want to see like a spec sheet. It sounds like the type of lighting that you're adding isn't really going to change the illumination levels a lot, so I guess if that is the case, that it's just up, down sconces around the building and some landscape lighting. I'm not overly concerned about a photometric, but I would say that for a project like this, it probably would be customary for us to have a photometric along with, any fixtures, spec cut sheets on any of the fixtures that are new. So I would say, Greg, like, can we?
Here's what I'd like to see.
If that is the piece that the board needs to see, then do we have any choice but to continue it?
Well, I think if we're looking for cut sheets and photometrics, we're going to be looking quite a while, waiting quite a while. Couple things. I'm fine with it. And to a degree, I don't mind a plan that is, in the past, we've voted on plans to approve, subject to one or two things being tweaked that Stephanie can, confirm. Okay, for example, the bollards, yeah, they could, like, once she said, I looked at, okay, I just thought those are building corners, but so if those are bollards listed, then they should be labeled and there should be a bollard detail. Certainly that's standard, that's simple, and Stephanie certainly could handle that, or, approving that or okaying it. I would like to see the 3 signs that are listed as illuminated entrance signs. I want the word illuminated removed because we know that's a separate permit and we are not approving any illuminated signs since nothing has been submitted. And that's, again, Stephanie can confirm that. In terms of the lighting, I was fine with adding same thing on the plan. Look at our bylaw and it talks about where you need lighting. You need adequate parking lot lighting, entrance lighting into the building and exit. So I don't really care what the fixture is. This isn't a special permit where we have an architectural say. Photometrics. Yeah, I mean, I would say, Mr. Adams, we don't want you to see put a giant light on the back that's going to blast, because you can't pollute even 1 foot candle into a neighboring property. So, because we are worried about, light pollution, and we're trying to, and we like to see dark sky compliant fixtures. So if we had, if on this plan, towards the back stair and ramp, they said, okay, those signs, okay, will be illuminated as required by bylaws, and the same thing up front, since you're obviously not going to get a solution worked out in the next couple of days, or it sounds like you're working with, your tenant. But so with what I just laid out, personally myself, I'm okay with that. Stephanie could check it, or if she's not sure, maybe the lighting comes back to us so we can confirm the foot candles, as Stephanie's has an awful lot of things she does in the town, not just planning board. So I don't want to dump everything onto her. But I also, so I want to throw it back to the board and to Deb, specifically for your question, to see what you guys think.
Yeah, and we should also need to add the landscaping, review the landscaping plantings.
Right. Yep. That's definitely mentioned. And right, and there's lighting around the deck that Mr. Adams noted too. So how do you think we should handle these folks?
Yeah, question for Mr. Adam.
Remember how much shorter meetings were when everything was done ahead of time? It's so much easier. Go ahead, Amas. I'm sorry.
Yes, is it clear that we need to illuminate what needs to be illuminated for safety reasons, but also we need to also comply with limiting the illumination, so there is no light pollution. Is it clear to you that both sides require, that's a reason we require a photometric study? Is it clear to you?
I'm sorry, I thought you were asking that question of the applicant.
Yeah.
couldn't understand it. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, please?
Is it clear to you that touch light and two-liter light are two different aspects of what our bylaws require? So you need to illuminate what you need to illuminate, but we also need to try not to have light pollution all around that area. Is that clear that both requirements are the one driving us to require a photometric study?
So typically, the bylaw says that we may require a photometric plan. And when we have many applicants that come in, just bring it. It's pretty simple. It's done by most of your lighting manufacturers. And most folks come in and wanting a smooth process. So they, we're not often having to cull so many missing items from a simple site plan. But some folks aren't aware of the bylaws or haven't reviewed them, or we look at these all the time. If someone doesn't provide us a photometric plan and does their lighting, and we find out the lighting once it's up, it's violates the bylaw, we are able to enforce that. Which is true of any of our bylaws, unless we approved something specifically, but we can, you're always allowed to sort of circle back if there's an issue that violates it. So the reason here, I don't necessarily, I just wish there was lighting on the plan, because then it would just been a much quicker discussion. We've got wetlands to the left, the front, there's an existing building to the right. I don't see issues. What Mr. Adams has described, it doesn't sound like there's going to be an issue of light, escaping the property bounds. But you don't know. It all depends on the fixture that goes. But unfortunately, we have nothing on the plans. The only thing we have, it says over by the neighboring building where it says EXLT, which I guess means existing light. So it's up to the board to decide, what they would like to do. But I think we need to move this thing along. Discussion.
Is there any public comment before someone attempts to make a motion?
Well, we can always get comments
After.
but let's see. Dale Carister and Neil Levine. Why don't you call them up in order, please?
I'm sorry. Oh, there they are.
Dale Carister, 21 South Street. Can you hear me?
We can.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank Mr. Adams for making the changes to the project to provide for the outdoor, seating area of the patio, and to make it more pedestrian friendly, and to improve the aesthetics. Having attended the visioning charrette many years ago at Olmsted Richardson, in fact, I think it was at the table with Mr. Adams. Safe to say, folks are quite excited about this use coming into the area. I know, with my finger on the pulse with the Furnace Village Neighborhood Collaborative, including not only business owners and single family owners, but many of the condominiums right around the corner. I think folks are very excited about this and, welcome it in the area. And I just wanted to thank the applicant for making those changes to his plans. So thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Mr. Levine.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
name and address for the record, please.
Neil Levine, I own McGuire's Bar and Grill in the plaza adjacent to Mr. Adams' project. I'd like to just, again, I think most of you are aware, I've made it known in the past, my support for this project. I'll echo Dale's sentiments as part of the Furnace Brook Neighborhood Collaborative and a businessman and a property owner. And we are so excited for this project to move forward. All the lighting issues that you folks raised, I have no issues with. I've spoken with Mr. Adams several times, and we just can't wait for this thing to get approved and to move forward and to continue to improve the district and the countless thousands upon thousands of dollars he's spending to make this neighborhood a better place. We're just 100% supportive of it. And I just wanted to let you folks know that is the next door neighbor that we are very, very excited for this project.
Great.
That's all
I
I
just
got
want to
today.
point out, I appreciate the comments, but I hope folks don't misconstrue the comments of the chair of the board here. We too are very welcoming of business. We're the ones who wrote the bylaws for this, but we're also responsible to make sure that things are safe. So maybe we seem like we're pains in the ass when we, move an ATM or ask for details on plans that are standard, but we're not trying to be sticklers. We're not trying to hold things up. We're trying to get professional documents that will provide a basis of safe travel and safe pedestrian use and consumer use in our neighborhoods and in our town. That's what we're charged with. And it's a
Can I
lot
speak?
easier if this stuff is done ahead of time. And it is. It's
Greg,
extremely
can you still hear
difficult
me?
when it isn't.
Hello, can I
So-
speak?
Excuse me?
Hi, this is Bob Kroll. Can I speak, please?
Sure. Name and address for the record.
Bob
please.
Kroll, I'm the engineer on this project. I was unable to get on earlier. If Bill, if you could move the plans so we can see the
Okay,
front of the
so
building.
Mr. Kroll, I don't want to go backwards here. We've spent quite a bit of time on this. Do you have any
Okay.
new information you want to provide? Or
No, I just
I'd
want
like
to say,
throw this back to the board?
on the plan, there is a light that is on an existing pole.
Right,
There's a light-
existing light, right, by the existing building.
no.
We've already discussed that.
Yes, we know about that one. There's also a light in the front of the building that shows, there's an existing light that goes towards McGuire's, and we propose to put a light shining onto the existing building. So it will not be shining on any other property.
So can you tell
There's
us?
an existing light and a P light.
Excuse me, sir. So how can you prove this to us? This doesn't show us, we don't have a light type, we don't have
It says,
light description, we have nothing about lumens. And EXLT tells us nothing. Okay, there's existing
Well-
light. But what does it light up? Where's the photometric plan?
well, at the last meeting, we had talked about where the light was, and had you requested it at that time, we could have done all that, but I guess we have to do it now.
Well, I think at the last meeting, we discussed the bylaws and we talked about some of the information that we would like to see where the lights are located and what area they're covering. What about the entrances to the buildings and to the deck? Are there any is there any lighting there? Is there any lighting on the drive-up window side?
I know there is. It is shown on the architectural plans. I can take that. and
Right,
put
but
it on the
again,
plan.
this is site plan review. So anything that has to do with illuminating the exterior, that may be shown on the architectural plan, but we
Okay.
need to see it. We don't approve the architectural plans. We approve
Right.
the engineered site plans. That's where we need the information. All right, board. So back to where we were at. What do you want to do about the lights? Stephanie, what do you think we should do about the lights, since no one wants to answer?
I think they should be shown on the plan and a photometric plan provided.
Anybody on the board disagree with that or okay with that?
Are we able to make a motion?
You can make any motion you want. You're always allowed to. No, serious, absolutely.
Okay, how about,
Free and open society here.
I will make a motion to approve the plans with the following conditions: that the illuminated signs, that the illuminated portion be stricken, since that is a separate permit, and that Stephanie, as the town planner, will review photometrics and any light fixture cut sheets that are provided as part of this approval.
And
Plantings, as Stephanie mentioned, that she would like, or that as a board, we would like to have, forget your word exactly, Stephanie, but natural
Native species.
native species. plants. I think I hope I captured everything.
Second, Stetson.
Okay, point of discussion. So Deb, that was a pretty big menu on there. I appreciate the motion. But honestly, why would we take so much work that is the responsibility of the planning board and dump it onto Stephanie? I get when, you know, we're missing one little sign or one little bollard detail, but now we're going to take reviewing site plans and photometrics away from the planning board as well. And again, I got to point out, I do a lot of work outside of this board. Stephanie is involved in so many things in town. Stephanie's swamped, you know, and very capable. She can handle it all. But I get worried if we're going to start taking, I mean, because you know what, you really think we're going to get a photometric and specs any quicker than 2 weeks out from our next meeting? You know, I get if we were holding up a project. This thing's been under construction for 6 weeks, so we're not holding up anything. And I just get concerned with precedent and with working procedure, but that's just my thoughts. I won't lay down on the tracks in front of this one.
Yeah, Greg, and if I
wanted to make
could,
that point. Go ahead, Stephanie.
if I could comment, Deb, I really appreciate the confidence you place in me, but I would feel more comfortable having the board, you know, I would certainly review it, but having the board also review it and approving it, so. The photometric.
And my only thought with the photometrics was because the building and the parking lot are already illuminated, and it sounded like, again, we don't know because nothing's been provided.
Do we know that they're illuminated? Do you know? I haven't gone by there at night to look.
My recollection is that it's illuminated.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone can
I've never
confirm
been
that
out
that
back.
is the case. But I am also, I think that obviously we have requirements for submission, and if the applicant did not, you know, submit everything that they needed to submit, then obviously, you know, that doesn't present an urgency on our behalf. So I'm okay either way. I guess I just personally thought that up-down lighting around the building is probably not going to substantially alter the photometrics of
So
that.
then why require a photometric? That's a big ask on this one, I think. But you're the one who brought that up, so I'm wondering why you want the photometric. If you just seem to contradict your motion.
Well, we talked about, I don't recall actually if I guess I did specifically request the photometrics. I would just like to see the cut sheets. It sounded like when the applicant started explaining it, that it was mostly up, down sconces around the building. And then I don't know if that's the case. Did I not understand that correctly? Is that?
Well, you had a photometric was part of your motion. And again, you know, all I care about is entrances and exits and parking lots are properly illuminated. That's what's in our bylaws. Unfortunately, there's nothing on this plan that speaks to at least half of those, you know. And you're right, we do have the right to ask for a photometric as called out in our bylaw. And we can ask, I mean, and I guess if you're gonna ask for a cut sheet, I mean, for a photometric, you need to ask for a cut sheet because you need to confirm
No, it's
it.
fixture is.
I'm
Well,
sorry?
we certainly can vote on this motion and or make another motion.
Need to withdraw the motion.
Why don't you just withdraw the motion? That might be the easiest.
Okay.
We can
withdraw my
redo it. If you guys want to move it along, I would recommend a motion would be all the things I said before, and you could say in terms of lighting, I'm fine if we just say, you know, that the plan needs to reflect the bylaw requirements for lighting in terms of parking and exit and entrance is into the building. It's a very simple thing. It's done on 99.9% of the site plans that we see. And the 0.1% that it isn't, we make them do. So,
and also, so new, all right. And then,
sorry, Peter?
Want me to give it a shot? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the plan with some conditions. One is that the planning department review the landscaping plantings. The existing lighting be shown on a plan New lighting will be dark sky compliant.
And shown on the plan, right? I know you meant to say
A note on the plan, at least indicating, what Mr. Adams told us about the pavement improvements. The bollards are incorporated into the plan. And anyone have anything else on?
Just the illuminated signs that be stricken.
And the note about the signs being illuminated be removed from the plan.
And the pylons,
Amas, was that a second? I couldn't tell.
no, I cannot do seconds, I am alternate.
Oh,
Second, Stetson.
all right. So further discussion. So are we gonna allow, so is this, Peter, your motion, and we'll just let this all go to Stephanie? Which I'm okay with. If
Yeah,
Stephanie's,
I mean, I want to see it too.
oh, so then,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how is this different than my motion? I didn't understand.
well, I thought he was trying to streamline this.
It's the
So-
same as the landscaping. I mean, we're gonna look at.
But if we want to
Look at
see
that.
it, then we should just ask him to do all that and continue this to our next meeting.
No, I understand that, an hour ago, but
Peter,
Hold
I
on, Amas,
think-
please let Peter finish, please. I couldn't hear him. Go ahead, Peter.
all right, I made a motion, so yeah, let's vote on it. But you're saying, what are we gonna do?
Okay,
with-
but for
with
point
the
of discussion, for clarity, what is the process that you're proposing? I don't understand. Is this, these changes are gonna be made on the plan
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
Stephanie's
so
gonna
the
sign
approval
off on
is
them?
contingent on a plan showing all that being provided. So we see the lighting, that's there, and the other items. But if you don't like that, that's okay. You could just
Well,
look
I
at
don't
it.
like it if you want the plan to come back to us at the next meeting, then I would say strike the motion and just tell them that's what you want, which is kind of what we said, and have them come back to the next meeting. I don't want to start a habit of approving things contingent and then we still have to look at it at the next meeting. That doesn't make sense to me. If we're trying to fast track things here, I get it, but the site's already substantially under construction. We're not holding anything up.
No, yeah, I was under the impression that maybe to finalize the, whatever, with the.
Well, and I would say if we were gonna let Stephanie sign off on all that, which I'm okay with that, because the difference, to answer your
Okay,
question,
so that's your point. All right,
you would
then,
propose cut sheets and a photometric, and that's, I just thought, the other things, I mean, Stephanie's very talented and she can handle all of this, but I thought we were just taking a little too much away from the board on that. But here, saying that, okay, we want the word illuminated removed, we want, we just want signs, lights noted at the points I already brought up. That's, yeah, you can look at the plan and see if it's on there, that's fine.
Yeah,
But
sure. I mean,
Peter,
you think
good point.
that
If you want us to see
yeah.
it again, then we should just continue this to the next meeting.
Is there a list of the things that need to be added to the plan? Maybe that's all we need, that this motion to continue and ask for all the details that needed on the plan. The details for the pylon, the asphalt, the lighting, the planting maybe.
Right. So, yeah, I'm gonna do this because we've been on this so long. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask you guys, Peter, I'm gonna ask you to remove your motion or withdraw your motion. I'm gonna ask Mr. Adams to do all those items that you just listed and come back on the 6th, and then we can wrap this up.
Okay. Motion
I
withdrawn.
think that's just the easiest thing.
Let's do that.
Motion's withdrawn. Okay, can I have a motion to continue to the 6th, please? Oh, do we have a question?
Motion to continue the site plan review to the 6th. Stetson.
Second it.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, Strange eye.
DeShane, aye.
Stetson, aye.
Anderson, I.
Balsaric, aye.
That's everybody. Great. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you on the 6th.
Thank you.
Next up, continued modification to a previously approved definitive subdivision, 19 Tanglewood Drive. Oh,
We have Mohammed Atani. And I don't see Frank Gallagher. But I think,
I
well,
just saw Frank a second ago with his hand up. Frank's there.
okay, sorry.
Frank's under attendees. I think he just got there.
I'm gonna slowly roll back up here and see if I can find him. Oh, there he is. Okay. And while that's happening, Mr. Chair, I believe from the last meeting, the only thing that was outstanding was Peter had raised a question about the maximum number of lots that could be created and what the formula was. And we have information from Mr. Gallagher. I thought I promoted him regarding that. And everyone should have seen the letter in your packets.
Mr. Gallagher, the floor is yours. I see you're muted, but just name and
Okay.
address for the record when you're ready.
Yeah. Frank Gallagher, Gallagher Engineering in Foxborough.
Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, I got a glaring light in the back there. So, yeah, when we last met, the only real issue that we were down to was the overall density of the development and whether or not adding these 3 lots would exceed what the allowable density was for this development. So I went back into the zoning bylaw that was in place at the time we did the development, and looked at that section that pertained to the number of dwelling units permitted. And I submitted a letter. I copied the cover page of the zoning bylaw, which was from 2000. It was actually amended through February 28th of 2000. And that was, as I remember it, that was the zoning bylaw that actually brought in this cluster development into the town of Easton. And it, if you look, the section that pertained to this issue was, let me just see, I quoted the section in my letter. It was section C.2.D, and it said the maximum number of units allowed was computed by taking essentially the upland area that you had on site and dividing it by 40,000 square feet. So if we took our development and we went through that calculation, we could have had at the time 77.5 lots. And we, even with this new modification, we're going to have a total of 60 lots within that development. And actually, we're bringing in another 80,000 square feet of upland with this modification. So if we go back to that original density requirement, we could have 79.5 lots, and we have 60. So we're pretty well under what we would be allowed, even with the addition of these 3 lots.
Okay, thank you. Stephanie, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, the information's been provided. It's pretty consistent with the zoning that I have electronically. I have versions of zoning up to from 73 to 85, and then from 2006, I think it is on. And there's consistency between 1985 and 2006 and how that is calculated for originally cluster developments, which then became known as open space residential developments.
All right, thank you. Board members, any questions or comments? Okay, I see one hand up. Courtney Pupkin, could you call her up?
Yep.
Please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, just name and address for the record, please.
Courtney Pupkin, 42 Serenade Park.
Welcome.
Thank you. I have a number of concerns about the upcoming development, all regarding density that I would just quickly like to go over. Stephanie or Ms. Danielson, if it's possible, I will be requesting to share my screen to show you some items. And the first item I just want to say is that in the area where the construction is proposed, Stephanie, if you can let me know when I can share.
That's up to the chair to
Oh.
allow you to share.
Oh,
your-
I'm fine if you share your
Yeah.
screen. Go right ahead.
Okay. And how, I'm not familiar with the webinar format. How do I hit share?
There's a green button at the bottom that says share screen, and you click on that, and then you click on the part of your screen that you want to share.
I just don't have that.
And
Right.
sometimes it's at the top of the screen, but usually it's at the bottom.
Okay, but I was given the permission.
Yes, by
Yeah,
being a
no, go right
panelist, you
ahead.
have permission. Yeah.
I'm so great. Well, I don't understand why I can't share, but
Mine
this is going to
shows
cause
3
problems.
dots at the bottom of the screen. Do you have 3 dots that says more somewhere?
I usually just have a green button on the bottom that says share
Yeah.
screen.
I share my screen all day long, so that's why I'm also confused of why I'm having this.
I do notice.
Okay, so, oops, sorry. And when I hit more, I can only hit, it says raised hand. It doesn't give me,
Oh, yeah, that's where I have a share screen option.
it doesn't give me any sort of sharing options there. Can I put attachments in the chat? Okay, so what I wanted to show you, and I can email to you, is the area where the 3 homes are proposed. We already have a bottleneck, and it narrows there. You can't really see it on the site plan map, and I don't know if the engineer is able to maybe share that or whatever was proposed before. But the problem is, number one, we have a bottleneck area. We have dangerous blind curves with a turn. We have over 100 children in the development. And this is the main road where this construction is going to be. It's the main road into the majority of the homes. There's no way around it. There's no detour. So having an addition, the construction is already going to be difficult, but having an additional home built just prolongs this. That's the least of our worries, however. We had over 50 families sign a petition against this additional home, the 3rd home being added in rather than 2, as was plotted in the El Hayek home plan when they purchased their home in 2014. I have their plot plan, which they were shown that there would only be 2 homes, where they're now proposing 3. So I'm not sure how they get to sell the Hayeks, and Rhonda is listening, but had asked me to speak because she is not a 1st-generation American and wasn't sure she'd be able to get everything out as she wanted to. So I am speaking partially on their behalf. The fact that at 2 Harmony Lane, that's on your corner lot of Harmony, and then this would be in her backyard. When her home was purchased, first they purchased it in 2012, they moved in 2014. They were shown 2 homes in that location. So for one, I'm curious how that works, how they can be shown 2 homes on their plot plan, and now because the builder's asking to put in 3, he can squeeze in 3. Also, what has happened to Rhonda is that they built 4 Harmony Lane next to her, and they built it elevated. She already has, and they were building an elevated, Mohammed Bishar, or Mr. Atani, whatever Stonebridge, let's just say that. They were not being, the Hayeks had to hire an attorney to fight against the level because he was raising it so high, and they had to fight to have a a retaining wall put in, which he did eventually do. They also had to, they also built the property too high. And so instead of lowering it properly, he just cut the foundation off. He does not have a good, the builder does not have a good reputation in the neighborhood, and we're
Okay,
scared.
excuse me, Ms. Pupkin, I'm just gonna stop you there for a second.
Yes.
So we're gonna
And-
just discuss things that are in the purview of this board.
Okay, so
And just
we'll
hear me
go back
out.
to
So
the drainage.
just hear me out for a second, okay? So
Okay.
that's whether someone's marketing material showed 1, 2, or 3 houses is irrelevant to this board. What we, and I don't want to talk this, I don't want to talk about folks' reputations. We don't,
Okay.
for a whole bunch of obvious
well,
reasons.
the reason
And that-
I was-
Excuse me,
but-
please let me finish. And that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with our deliberations here. What we're going to look at as a planning board is if the lots proposed meet the bylaws of the subject property. And if the development of those proposed lots, or those proposed buildings, I should say, meets with all of the safety and planning requirements of our bylaws. That's what we deal with. So I'd like you to
Noted.
just kind of keep your comments in that lane. Thank you.
Noted, absolutely. And where I was going with that last comment was only the fact that in the previous meeting, which unfortunately I wasn't able to stay on because I had a board meeting for my full-time job. However, at that meeting, some drainage concerns were raised by the homeowner on the other side of the proposed construction. And he has said that he's had very wet land, et cetera. And he said, you know, what is going to happen? What are you going to do to protect me from this? And the engineer, and this is hearsay, but I was told the engineer said, you know, well, we're trained to figure that out, to work with that problem. Well, a lot of people do have drainage problems throughout this development. So it's hard for us to believe that when we're already experiencing many drainage problems. And now if Rhonda has drainage problems on one side and now potentially on the other side of her home being built up, she's going to be in a moat.
Okay, so just to give you an example, so at the last meeting, I believe it was Mr. Switzer that spoke.
Yes.
And I just go by, and he talked, and you didn't quite characterize exactly what he said. What he said was where these houses are going, and then the property behind him, parcel G, puddles, you know, there's standing water sometimes with rain. And he asked what would ensure that, you know, his house, a very common question, but many homeowners get when there's going to be new construction proposed next to them. He said, what would ensure that their house wouldn't get wet? So it was pointed out actually by a few members of this board and by the engineer that looking at the topography, both proposed and existing, that yes, where these 3 lots are, there's a low spot right in the middle, and it kind of corresponds with the low spot in the road, which leads to the stormwater management system, which is across the street on parcel 1A. So I just wanted to clarify that, that the question, in my opinion, the question that was asked was answered in a very professional and accurate manner by both board members and the applicant based on the plans in front of us. Now, if these plans, you know, we can only approve these. We don't go and do the construction. We don't go and view the construction. If these plans are built differently in terms of grading and stormwater management runoff, if these are built differently than what is approved, then, you know, then there could be an issue. But I don't know of any history of that happening in this subdivision. So anyway, so go ahead. Do you have any further questions or comments?
No, thank you very much.
Okay. Stephanie, do you have anything that you wanted to add to that? Or you know, I should say that differently. If you had any questions or comments.
I don't. I don't.
Just one comment, just like kind of reiterating the drainage concerns.
And I think I just got a weird, oh, there's a chat. Okay, I just got so there's a chat happening. I will read the chat. Well, that's, I think, a different project. Okay, so from Bob Gordon, this is 38 Symphony, and we also have significant drainage issues. We would like to know when the analysis was done on the wetlands and copy of that data. And at 8 o'clock, Dolores Facey, I believe, forgive me, I'm terrible with names, 7 Harmony, just moved in 1.5 years ago. I am starting to believe my house is on wetlands. My sump pump runs 24 hours a day.
Greg, if I could just answer the question about, I mean, that if someone wants that information about the wetlands, they can contact our office.
Great,
And
thank you.
you can get that information for them.
Yeah, I mean, I would just comment, and again, you know, I've had to say this a few times tonight, but you know, planning board, we handle things, you know, within our purview. And just so you understand, engineering standards, engineering requirements, things that tie back to both state and local wetlands, I'm sorry, stormwater management requirements, which were in force when this road was built. And you know, and dealing with the Board of Health, so when houses go in and when septic systems go in, there's certain distances that need to be maintained between the water table and the bottoms of these structures. I also live in Easton, well, we all do, right? And you know, I have 3 sump pumps that run, you know, a lot. I live in a very clayey area of Easton, sometimes, you know, so a sump pump running is not necessarily a sign that a road was, you know, not built correctly, or that drainage isn't working. I mean, Easton is known for many different types of soils and many soil conditions, and we have a very high water table in much of this town. But this is all taken in and reviewed by the town, and you know, and by the engineers who submit these with, you know, their licensed professional engineers who put their license and signature on these. That's not taken lightly. So anyways, that's my commentary on that. So we hear what you're saying, but and I understand this is an existing neighborhood, lots of families. It's always tough to get used to not having houses around, and things can change. But again, what this board is charged with is looking if this extension is within the bylaws and requirements of this subdivision at the time of approval. Board members, questions, comments? And I see, Stephanie, we have one more hand up, Bob Gordon. Excuse me.
This is Bob Gordon, 38 Symphony. I just
Oh,
want to
Mr. Gordon.
hold on. I just want to be clear. This is not about an additional house going up. This is about the wetlands that are forming around our houses and the damage that that potentially could cause. And I think that point is being missed.
I'm so you cut out. I'm sorry. What was around your house? You cut out for part of it.
Well, you made the comment that this is, you know, upsetting to us because it's just one additional house going in. If that's not the case, I think you're misunderstanding what we're saying. It has to do with the drainage and the additional 4 houses when we're already dealing with a significant issue with wetlands. And I understand we can get the data, but can you answer the question of when this data or analysis was done? Is it 20 years ago?
Well, I just want to just so you understand, you know, what I was saying. Constructing these houses is not going to just, it doesn't increase the wetlands. It doesn't, you know, creating these houses doesn't create more water. What we deal with is where the water goes. Obviously, this is changing right now. These are vacant lots, so the water percolates into the soil a certain way. Once a house is built with impervious areas such as pavement and roofing, you know, concrete, and so that, you know, that's why during the presentation 1 or 2 meetings back, and you can see on the roof drains go into a leaching, so that we put those subsurface. So we take quite a bit of care in Easton to try to require as little impact or really no impact on on the drainage planes, existing drainage planes.
Yeah, I seem to be missing something. Just because something is drawn on a piece of paper and says we're gonna have the drainage things here, doesn't mean that it won't have an effect. I want to see the data, the analysis. Why cannot that not be provided?
Again, Greg, Mr. Gordon, if you contact our office, we will pull those files and make that information available to you.
Okay, then can I ask that this decision gets delayed until we have a chance to review that stuff?
Are you a licensed engineer, Mr. Gordon?
Does it matter, Mr. Strange?
Very much so, yes.
Oh, it does, Mr. Gallagher. Okay.
It certainly does. I mean, how can you expect to review work that you have no knowledge of?
Because there's an amazing thing out there where I could go to somebody who is an engineer and have them look at the data.
Well, you could have an engineer review it. In
Right.
fact, the town had an engineer review our work when we originally did it.
Back in 2001?
Yes,
Exactly. Thank you for making my point.
well,
And Greg, if I may
Hey,
also.
Folks, let's stay orderly, please. Okay, and last time I checked, the earth works the same way in 2022 as it did in 2001. Stephanie, go ahead.
Greg, one of the things I was going to add is that if the board issues a decision approving the modification, and at the time building permits are submitted, the conservation agent will review the project. She'll look at the proposal and determine if there are wetlands on the project, on the site. I mean, presumably the applicant has done that, but that will.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's important. There are many. Easton is a very well-run and very. It's a high bar to develop in Easton. We are just simply tonight looking at the creation of 3 lots, and I think it's important. I've gone back. I've reviewed the records from 19 years ago, 20 years ago, and it was this was brought up at the last meeting, but I wanted to confirm it, and it was discussed during the original filing of this project that this land that was sort of in limbo, that they couldn't come up with an ownership, that would be cleared up, which is pretty common. You're able to figure these things out through land court eventually. So that's why this road and subdivision stormwater management was designed with these houses being developed. And of course, when this road was designed 20 years ago, and this was a vacant lot, but that's not what the road stormwater management system was designed to. It took into account that there would be allowances for the amount of impervious material on each lot, how yards would percolate different than open field or woodland, whatever the existing condition was at the time. So a lot of this, or all of this, had been reviewed, and dealing with a board and a professional planner that deal with this quite often, we know that what they're looking to do is within the guidelines of our bylaws. The road is laid out safely. It has all these turns in it for traffic calming. That's the way it was done. Now, that's not to say someone can't go. Someone commented last week that people fly down the street. Well, we're not able to stop people from driving too fast, but if someone's doing that, I would call, you should call the police department, because people shouldn't be driving fast on this road. That's why it's designed with all of these bends and turns in it. And I see, as someone who has worked in this for 40 years, the stormwater management in this area and the way these lots are laid out exactly where so the drain away from the new houses and the existing houses, right to you can see the low spot in the road right between Tanglewood and Drive. And I guess I'm the only one looking at the screen, so it may not. So this all passes the sniff test, if you will. And I understand all your concerns, and I don't mean to. I'm not going. We don't take them lightly, but when I asked if you were an engineer, because I get your concerns, but without someone bringing up professional opinion that there's something flawed in this design, it would be hard for, just for me individually as a member, not to approve this, because I see everything designed and laid out as best I can tell according to our bylaws. And to Stephanie's point, let's say that if the board were to approve this, at some point when a building permit is applied for, that goes to every department in the town. That goes to the DPW, the Board of Health, Conservation Commission, comes back to planning. This is looked at many, many times. So if there has been a change in the wetlands, that from what is shown on the plan, yeah, I assume this has probably already been discussed with the land use agent, but I'm not involved in that end, so I can't speak to that. But to Stephanie's point, that will get done. Concom is going to have to sign off on this. So this will have all sorts of professional eyes looking at this, just like every project does in Easton. Brianne Rothwell.
Hi, this is Brianne Rothwell, 75 Concerto Court.
Welcome.
I'm just wondering, why do we feel, or why do you guys feel like you have to approve the 3 when there was only supposed to be 2?
Again, I can't stress this enough. There was supposed to be 2. Our board, we don't approve or disapprove, marketing plans or preliminary plans. We just look at what's proposed in front of us, and these lots are designed within the same parameters as the other existing lots in this portion of the subdivision. So that's what we base our decisions on, not whether past promises. And I'm not saying there were any, but I'm just, but we get this a lot. Past promises, past marketing plans, things change on that. But that's not under our purview. We can only rule and approve or disapprove for the reasons and items under our purview as called out in the charter of the town and in Mass General laws.
Okay, but those were final plans, not proposed, or not marketing materials, or not, real estate listings. So that's why.
Well, I don't, again,
understand.
it's not to say, I mean, I don't recall there being, if you're saying there was a plan for just 2 lots approved here, that could have been the case, that could have been done, but that doesn't mean a property owner doesn't get one bite at the apple. If circumstances change, or more land's obtained, or whatever the circumstance, there's nothing, if let's say we were looking at a plan tonight for 2 lots, right? And he wanted to keep one of these pieces free, and we approved it. There's nothing that keeps him going for a 3rd lot in the future, or a 4th lot or a 5th lot, as long as it's within, and as Mr. Gallagher and Ms. Danielson spoke earlier, we looked at the decisions which allowed this subdivision to be built in the first place by the planning board and the other boards. And under the density allowed, would equal, and I'm sorry, I think you guys said 71 lots, 72 lots?
The density would allow 79 lots.
Okay, and this total comes up to what, 60?
60.
I think you said?
This
60,
total
so
comes up to 60.
That's
So
just
those are
ridiculous.
that's the criteria that we go by, that we have to go by, because those are the bylaws that we administer.
Okay, but like, if this neighborhood was planned out so well, we can't even get a school bus in this neighborhood. I mean,
It has nothing to do with us. I'm sorry. I understand your frustration, but that we have nothing to do with school buses.
No, I understand, but like the planning board, like, I mean, all these plans, you said were well thought out and approved and all this, but we can't even, get a school bus down here to pick up our kids. So how well thought out and planned was the road,
I have no idea what's involved. I must admit, I have no idea what's involved in what decisions allow school buses to go down roads. I really can't.
I mean, it just sounds so ridiculous. Okay, and what about that I forget what it's called, the open space, but it's landlocked, like no one can get to it. So what's up with that? Is that just doesn't matter that no one can get to the open space?
Well, I think, and or Frank or Stephanie, if you want to answer, I mean, you know, trying to, I think in this case, it provides buffer between some houses. We're always looking to create as much of a rural character as Easton as we can. So when someone
know,
wants
that's
to, when someone wants to provide open space, we're not against that.
You know, just a comment on that, if I could. You know, for anyone who's been in this development, I defy you to find another place in town that makes better use of some of the open space that we have here. I mean, that if you look at what's shown as parcel F on this plan and parcel E,
Okay, I live here.
those are
I'm here
just,
every single
those are
day.
about, you know, as good a use of open space as you can find, and those are public areas. Open space also can serve as a buffer.
We pay for that.
And in this particular case of the modification that we're proposing, the open space piece that we show is really designed to provide a buffer.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sure.
so it's, you know, it's, in this case, we're using it as open space should be used and as a buffer.
Hold on.
Just say,
I'll raise my hand again.
Anything else? Okay, so where are we at, folks? Questions, comments, motions? Am I muted? You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. You just want to stay on all night? Questions, comments, motions, continuances? I beg of you, do something, please.
So we've heard all the public comment at this point.
Let's see. I see Courtney Pumpkin. I don't know if that was from before.
No, I had lowered Courtney.
Okay, we'll allow one more comment because we don't seem to be getting any new ground. So Ms. Pumpkin, if you want to go ahead.
Sure. Thank you. I just wanted to follow up about that climate change subject because 2001 impact versus 2022 or going forward impact is just, it's different and it's scary. And this is taking away land, habitat, floodplain, etc. And I mean, I think there's every reason to not add this home. And I'm really perplexed that you're allowed to sell someone a home and show them that there's going to be 2 homes behind them, but that doesn't matter. So I'm also.
No, I can't stress this enough because this keeps coming up. This board, and no one, as best I know, no one from the town of Easton told anybody in this neighborhood there would only be 2 houses built here. I've never seen a plan with 2.
I have
and
one.
I'm sorry that happened to you, but that has no bearing on what our decisions are based on the bylaws. I've heard people's personalities attacked tonight, you know, and that's just not what I want to handle at this board. We are here to deal with good planning and safety from Easton. And, you know, there's hey, climate change happens for all of us, but no one's showing me in the data that shows that this road, which is already fully constructed, is not going to function as well as it is now with 3 more houses on it. So with that, I'm gonna turn off the public comment there. I think we've covered everything. So Stephanie, is there anything further that you need or that we need?
No, not to my knowledge.
And is this a public hearing?
Yes.
So I would ask the applicant, do you want us to close the public hearing?
We're
Knowing
ready
that
to
once it's closed, no further information can be provided.
No,
We can't
we're-
take a
we're
vote
ready
without
to close.
closing. I'm sorry, Frank, I stepped over you.
We're ready to close the public hearing.
Would someone please make that motion from the board?
Motion to close the public hearing at 19 Tanglewood Drive, Stetson.
I'll second that.
We have a second from Ms. Balsaric. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to close the public hearing, Strange, aye.
Kevin, aye.
That's an aye.
Balsaric, aye.
All right. Any further motions?
I'll make a motion to approve the modification at 19 Tanglewood Drive, Stetson.
I'll second it. Balsaric.
Any further discussion?
The only thing I would add, and because I do understand the concerns, and I understand that everything that Greg said is accurate, and I just, for such opposition to come up for something like this, it just, to me, it reflects that there wasn't significant outreach. Maybe there was, but I didn't get that sense. And I just think some of these issues could have been explained and ironed out before before tonight. And so that's the only message that I have. In terms of the merits, I understand everything that has been presented, and I support the modification, but I think that's something that could have been ironed out a little bit in more detail before tonight.
You mean between the applicant and the abutters?
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And to the folks at home that participated, we hear what you're saying, and I appreciate your comments. But I don't mean to be a stickler for the rules, but hearsay and personalities just can't be part of the decisions here. Our decisions are based on the bylaws and the planning documents of Easton. All right, so we have a second. We have any further comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, Strange, aye.
Stetson, aye.
Balsaric, aye.
Kevin, aye.
All right, and I know
Is Chris here?
Chris texted me he's having a computer issue, so, but we have enough. We can go on without it. So
Yes.
that's fine. All right, thank you. Good luck to the applicants.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Find my agenda. Where? Bear with me for a second, kids. All right, I have it back. Okay, so 6 Hill Street, continuous special permit. We have received a request to continue to our next meeting on the 6th of June. If someone would make that motion.
Motion to continue 6 Hill Street to June 6th.
Second, Stetson.
Excuse my yawn. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, Strange, aye.
Shane, aye.
That's an aye.
Balsaric, aye.
All right, très bien. Okay, 56 Main, if there's someone presenting. You want to raise your hand so Stephanie can call you from the audience?
Let me, yeah,
Is that the proper use? Would it be culling?
call them, not cull. Cull means.
Not call, yeah, maybe pull. You can just pull them from the audience.
Okay, here we go.
I thought we'd have a quick meeting tonight, so I'm kind of exhausted batty at this point. So. After our big weekend of town work, right, Stephanie?
Yes, yeah.
24 hours, 7 days a week. Never ends.
Okay, so we should have Shauna and Arthur. And
Hi. Good evening.
Welcome. If you just want to name and address for the record when you're ready to go.
It's Arthur Pascalopoulos, 95 Sherwood Lane, Rainham, Massachusetts.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So do you want to share a screen or how? do you have it?
Sure. So my wife Shauna and I are we've purchased the property at 56 Main Street, old historic property, and we're in the process of converting it from the former hair salon, the cottages, to a retail floor shop. So we're requesting a change of use from business to mercantile. Let me just share my screen here. All right, can you all see?
Yep. Okay, I'm sure. I assume everybody else can.
Okay. So this is the existing building here with Main Street here. It's about 1,000 square feet. We've taken this back section here, which was a parking lot, just kind of cleaned it up in terms of landscaping and stuff, but we haven't really changed anything to the exterior or the interior of the building. You had requested to see the lines, the parking lines drawn in. This is the 6 spots that are in the parking lot with the dimensions. And then I actually have them here a little cleaner if you'd like to see as well. So these are the 6 spots with a potential 7th spot here for a delivery van. But right now, these are the ones that are drawn in.
Okay. Thank you.
Again, no changes to the interior of the property or exterior or the land or anything like that. Just change of use, pretty much.
All right. Thank you. Stephanie, you have any questions or comments?
I just want to go back to my report. I think I looked at the parking and the number of spaces that they're providing is consistent with what is required. So parking requirements for retail is 1 space per 500 square feet of gross area. The assessor's map indicates that the structure has 1,056, which would equate to 2 parking spaces being required. They're providing 6. And you saw in the diagram, the parking area that can be striped. My understanding is it's not currently striped. I did drive over there.
It is currently striped.
Okay. I was over there the other day. The plan does 2 things. One thing that I meant to include in my report, and it came up with the other, is that there's not a lighting plan shown. So where the light is illuminating the parking lot and the entrance. And also it does not show a loading area for delivery of goods. And the plan that they're using, I believe, is the plan that was submitted to the planning board when the site was approved for site plan review for use as a hair salon. I don't know what type of materials are delivered I don't know that a loading dock is necessary, but it would be presumed that delivery of flowers would require some kind of delivery area.
Right. So we have a bulkhead that we can right there at the front entrance. But it's not a substantial amount of deliveries. It's just flowers. So we don't really need a loading area, but we do have a bulkhead right at the main entrance where we can drop a delivery vehicle and bring flowers in.
And then again, just the lighting. My familiarity with florist shops is they usually close at 5 o'clock during the winter hours. Once we move out of daylight saving time, 5 o'clock is dark.
Right. So there is a lantern that is right at the back. So on the plan, it says LP right there in the back corner. I can share my screen again to show you. So there is like an old lantern that lights up.
There's 2 of them shown in the parking area. right? LP.
Yeah, there
And there's
is.
there's one at the front entrance, or at the,
Yeah.
of the walkway.
And one of them isn't lit up now because I don't think it has a bulb in it, but.
Yeah, there are actually 4, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I do see those now.
So
Well,
they're
you don't
right
have to,
here.
you don't have to list on the plan whether it has a bulb in it or not, but you probably should put a bulb in it.
But yeah, there are lights illuminating
Okay, I
the
see
post.
those.
So there's lights illuminating the post where the sign is, but we also have another sign that you all approved that is about 4 by 5, but there's no lights illuminating that sign. It's just a wooden carved sign.
Peter, you're right, there's 4. Yeah, I saw 3. in the
Yep, there
back.
are.
And I think in terms of the delivery, during your presentation, I know you had the little actual turnaround area, or I know you have more parking than is required by the bylaw. So given the nature of this building, historic building and the tiny little site, I don't think we could require anything else or need to. Board members, questions or comments?
And there's no dumpster existing or proposed?
No dumpster, no.
You don't throw flowers away, you just compost.
That's
You
my
dry them and you make potpourri. Look at that. You can tell it's been a long meeting. I'm getting batty. Anybody want to make a motion or ask?
Motion to approve the plan as presented.
Second, Stetson.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, Strange eye.
DeShane, aye.
That's an aye.
Sarah Guy.
Very good. It's unanimous.
Thanks. Good luck. Thanks for putting the light posts on the plan.
Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. I don't know why this keeps closing. It's driving me nuts. 534 Washington Street, my brother's keeper, site plan review.
I have Scott Faria for that. Let me just make sure. And if Scott could indicate if there's anyone else with him that I need to promote to panelist.
Eric Miller, Stephanie.
I saw Eric. Hold on.
He's already in.
Yeah, he's on.
Yeah,
There we go. Hello.
purely by accident.
Good evening. Name and address for the record, gentlemen, please.
Scott Faria, Holmgren Engineering, 1024 Pearl Street, Brockton, Mass.
Eric Miller, president of My Brother's Keeper, 534 Washington Street, Easton, Mass.
Thank you. And the last 4 of your social? The floor is yours, gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. On behalf of My Brother's Keeper, we've submitted a site plan for a building addition at their existing facility at 534 Washington Street in Easton. My Brother's Keeper, at this point in time, feels like they need a renovation to modernize and optimize their ongoing operations. I'm sure as all you folks know, in the last couple of years specifically, their outreach has really increased with COVID. Just in the last 2 years, they've done over 400,000 deliveries of furniture and items of that type. And they've also delivered over 2.6 million pounds of food to the surrounding area. So because of that, they really need this addition that we have proposed before you tonight. The My Brother's Keeper, the existing building is about 13,000 square feet. And we're looking at adding an 1,800 square foot addition that'll primarily be for a loading dock. It'll be a little bit of a warehouse, but the main reason we're doing it is for the 3 loading dock bays that will be built as part of this addition. In order to achieve that, we have the addition on the side of the building in the area of the existing driveway that goes around the building. So in addition to the 1,800 square foot building, we're adding about 2,500 square feet of paving to get around the building. So a little bit of a new driveway on the side of the building. All the other conditions on the site remain the same. The system is tied in, the building is tied into the Stonehill sewer system. That's remaining unchanged. There's a large parking area off to the side of the building that you folks approved through site plan approval back 4 or 5 years ago. So we have more than enough parking on site to handle the increased runoff from this rooftop and to get this addition into compliance with stormwater management. We have proposed a subsurface infiltration system that'll handle all the runoff from that 2,500 square feet of paving and from our 1,800 square foot building. All of that work, as I said, is pretty much all in the existing yard area of the My Brother's Keeper property. There is a wetland in the back that's going to require us a hearing before the Conservation Commission. We filed for a hearing for them and are just waiting on a public hearing date from the commission, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Stephanie?
Only
Oh,
clarification I might add, I'm sorry.
That's
Delivery numbers, 40,000 deliveries since the beginning of the pandemic.
Did I exaggerate?
You did. 400,000 is yeoman's
just-
work.
It's an extra zero. That was it.
You know, those engineers never good with numbers.
Not after the last hearing. You don't want to go there, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I had to go there. Stephanie, go ahead.
So, Scott, are you going to share your screen?
I would love to try.
Because I think it would help. It certainly would, I think, help the board and some of the comments I'm going to make.
Is it there?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it is. So there are some significant changes. Scott's right. It's just about an 1,800 square foot addition that they're putting on. It's not even a quarter of the space that's currently occupying, that comprises the existing warehouse area. What they're proposing is to change the circulation around the building. Currently, all traffic flows in and are in a two-way direction, right? Or is it in and around? It's in and around. And what they're proposing is a curb cut at the parking lot on the left, where employees and visitors will actually enter and park. There will be, it looks like they're saw cutting, they're removing some pavement, and the sidewalk is going to be located where Scott's arrow is right now. So there's no interaction with vehicular traffic. And what they're going to do with the existing paved area is use that for the delivery and exit. So they'll be coming off the southern entrance on Washington Street and circulating around to the back to the loading dock. And it looks like they would be turning around, and I'm going to try to see if I can do annotation here. I haven't been very good at it in the past. So it looks like the trucks will come in this way, back into the loading docks, discharge their goods and supplies, and then pull out and then return back, through Washington Street.
Right.
So that is a big change. It would seem to be a safer way for make it safer for people who are driving in cars and trying to get into the building. they won't be commingling with the delivery vehicles. But it is an additional curb cut. And where I was drawing where the trucks would pull in, back up, and then pull out again, I think they need to show the how those vehicles are going to maneuver that in fact they can manipulate that. That's not shown on the plan.
Actually, this sheet number 3A, well, it doesn't show them backing into the loading dock, but sheet number 3A is the fire truck plan, which is pretty much the same size as the occasional tractor trailer that would be coming in. So
I found that hard to read, and I figured that was it, but I had a hard time finding the fire vehicles themselves. But
it's a lot of lines. It is messy. I agree. But we can certainly clean that up and show the trucks more clearly and show them loading, backing into that loading dock.
yeah. Another comment I have is where they show the curb cut. There are, as you can see, there are mature trees. Presumably those are going to be cut. And cleared. That should be shown. It's not indicated on the plan that those will be cut. Okay. And as part of probably the approval for the original parking lot expansion there appear to be, I think it's 5 white pines that have been planted in front of the mature trees. So again, presumably those would need to be cut as well. Perhaps they can be relocated. There's a lot of area. This site is completely buffered from its neighbors in Washington Street. Of course, creating that curb cut will create a new view into the site, but I think it still will be pretty much buffered. So I don't know that they need a lot of new landscaping. However, there's also a lot of area that's mulched, and when I was there the other day, it's not planted with anything. That's just kind of a general comment. Again, from the exterior, the neighbors are all buffered. The vegetation there really provides a visual relief from the roadway. Let's see, the parking, they seem to meet all the requirements. In their calculations, it looked like they just used the warehouse space, but even if you look at office space by itself and then warehouse space, it totals a need for 49 spaces, and the plan shows 66. They are going to lose some spaces, but they'll still have 58, which will be above the required 49.
Right.
Okay.
And
oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that is no additional exterior lights appeared to be shown. So I think they need to demonstrate that the existing lighting sufficient for the safe loading maneuvers in dark sky conditions. And then Captain Zalo had some comments, and the Board of Health was questioning whether you're currently on, and I think you stated this earlier in your presentation, Scott, that this is also tied into Stonehill's wastewater collection system that goes to Brockton wastewater treatment.
That's correct.
Stormwater management, we had this on hold, and I did talk about zoning. This site is located now in the Ely-Mawsonary district, which does not allow warehouses by right. And that question came up. I mean, it was already existing as a warehouse. So the question was kind of, if they expanded it, would it increase a non-conforming use? Let's see, Walter Marioni, on behalf of the client, provided evidence that this had gone to the Zoning Board of Appeals for approval as a warehouse, and kind of a nonprofit organization use. And there was agreement between their council and town council that this would be a use that was allowed under special permit and would not create an increase in nonconformity. So, oh, and the point I was getting to there is we had held up doing stormwater review in case for some reason the project couldn't move forward, but that will be proceeding and in conjunction, particularly with the wetland review. So,
Okay, all set?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Board members, questions or comments?
I think I agree with Stephanie that like the truck, just to see how the trucks would back up and how the cars would move around the site would be helpful. And you know, not, I guess the second curb cut is okay. Maybe you could continue the stone wall like around like the radius of the curb cut, so it sort of matches the existing stone wall. You know, not all the way through the parking lot, just like just on the radius.
Understood. Yep, certainly.
And then what about as far as, are you clearing any trees, like say in the radius area? I'm not sure what the sidewalk is from how I'm looking here, but.
Along this new entrance?
Yes.
Yeah, there will be some trees that'll have to come down as part of that. So on the revised plan, I'll specifically show the trees that we're taking down.
Okay, yeah, I meant like outside of like the new driveway, outside of the curb cut, like say like behind the stone wall I was just talking about.
We don't, nothing outside of the driveway.
Okay, because right, there's plenty of sight once they pull out sort of
For sure.
to the sidewalk level, right? There's plenty of sight line. Yeah.
There's plenty of sight distance, and that's obviously a big deal with MassDOT that we have to file. We have to file with MassDOT after we receive your approval. So that's sight distance is always a concern of theirs, for sure.
Okay, that's all I have now.
Thank you.
Okay, Deb, Bob, or Amas, anything?
So it sounds like we're gonna continue this just so some edits.
Yeah,
can
we
be
haven't started
made.
stormwater management yet. I mean, review, so we'll have to.
Sure.
If no one has any other comments, then I'll make a motion to continue to the next meeting.
I have a couple comments.
Oh, sorry,
I just
Greg.
wanted to see if the three of you had any feedback before I went. So nothing, Deb, or Bob,
No,
or
no,
Amas, do you guys
Tim.
have anything?
Floor is yours.
Nothing.
Okay, so a couple of, the plan does call out the lights that are on the building, if you look in the legend, just so that FYI, but same thing, I think a little
Something I
bit,
missed a lot.
a little landscaping around the entrance, and I guess I'm just wondering, in your presentation, the new entrance where the proposed trench drain is, you mentioned that is there gonna be any signs there for like employee only parking, or how are we gonna, not that you're gonna have trucks in here all the time, but it is a little convoluted parking lot. How are you gonna manage the entrance and exit?
I suppose we would probably want to propose some kind of signage. For the most part, it's going to be used by people that know of the facility and that are going there to either to work or to volunteer. So they'll certainly be made aware of the fact that that's an employee parking area. But we probably should have a sign just to make sure that no trucks enter into that parking lot. And
just where it's such a tough angle, and then you get, I think, so something along those lines. And then I guess, and I believe you said this is just starting with Concom. Now, of course, you're only, they must like you. You got in the 50, huh? But but you were there to begin with.
that was back in the day.
And just extending a little.
Yeah.
But and Stephanie, I guess a question for you too. Do you see any substantial changes happening here based on, and I know it's a tough question, but you're with us, not with Concom, but I mean, you're going to start with
You're not
Concom
in-
now?
I mean, in looking at the plan, you're not proposing additional work within the buffer zone, right?
Well, just a little bit, the
The
paving, paving along that northwest corner.
Yeah, there's a little
Past
bit
the
of,
side, you can see, if you look at sheet C3, it shows you if you look to the left of the loading dock,
right
the
here.
addition, it shows where the dash lines where the existing
Yeah.
pavement is. So you got a little bit in the 50. I mean, nothing I don't think that they wouldn't allow, given what they've already allowed, but you got a little bit within the 50 and a little more
Yeah.
within the 100.
Right there.
But it's really the only thing you can do, so.
Right. Yep.
And my worry was if we approve it and then you have substantial changes, you're gonna come
Right.
back. But it sounds like we're gonna be a meeting or two out waiting on stormwater.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to that. They may, again, you'd have to demonstrate that you have no alternative. They certainly can grant a waiver of that work. I see now what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Interesting. How it is. I mean, I knew that's funny. I knew that's what there was, but my conservation agent hat wasn't on. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that they would approve it. It's not a substantial
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't looking to
Yeah.
commit to that. I was just thinking,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
But
but I
think
guess it's kind of a
it's
moot point.
wise to certainly not close and
Right.
In the review, the review from the town's consultant is gonna be concurrent for, it's gonna be both the planning and zoning board and the conservation commission. So, waiting on that review is gonna kind of wrap up both of those, both of our hearings, I would think. So,
So any motion to continue, should we go out maybe a couple meetings?
I think so,
We're not
yes.
gonna be ready by the 6th, I wouldn't think, right? So.
And the 6th is probably going to be a long meeting.
yeah, and you're yawning enough already, Mr. Chairman. I don't want to add to your June 6th.
I'm not gonna be here on June 6th, so.
There you go. All right.
Wait a minute. Okay, we're going to need to talk about that.
Talk to my surgeon.
No, I don't mean about reschedule, but I think I don't want to hold this up, but let's have a conversation with the board after this.
Okay.
Because that will have an impact on certain projects.
But I
Okay,
would
so-
request June 20th, if I may, Mr. Chairman, if that's your next meeting after.
Yeah, I was just looking at my phone to see. Anybody have the calendar in front of them?
June 27th.
27th? Okay.
Yep.
Please.
So could we here's my suggestion. Let's see, what are you on the planning board's, the Conservation Commission's agenda?
I don't have it in front of me. I'm not.
You don't have a date, okay. All right, you won't be getting on the meeting of the 6th then, so,
Right.
okay.
So if it's not the 6th, it's the 27th of June that we
Yeah.
continue to, is that
Yeah.
Please.
was discussed? Okay, motion to continue to June 27th.
Or a second.
Second,
second it.
Stetson.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, strange eye.
DeShane, aye.
Stetson, I.
Balsaric, aye.
That passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, folks. Have a good night.
Thanks for your consideration and thanks for your service to the town.
You're
Appreciate
welcome. Thank you for all the good work you and your organization.
Thanks. It's a privilege. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, good luck.
All right, so let's see. Let's go down to ZBA request for comments. First one, 703 Washington Street. Sign at the Ford dealer, if I recall. They were relocating.
They want to just kind of renovate the existing signs.
Yeah, I thought so.
But it had been, it was two properties when it was, the two signs were approved, and now it's, the lots have been combined, so it's one property.
Do you want me to share my screen on this one?
Sure.
Okay. Are you seeing?
Yes. Oh, yeah, so they're kind of replacing that quick lane sign on the south corner.
Right.
That's what it looks like.
What are the dimensions? Oh, the outside.
Oops, sorry, that was a little,
I can just go to my own plan.
yeah, it'll probably be easier if you can see that there. It looks like approximately what, 132 square feet of area for each face. It's actually that's a 20-foot sign.
Yeah, I just zoomed in 20 by,
Yeah,
is that, sounds bigger than,
by 6.7 feet.
we could recommend, but prefer to see the quick lane sign reduced in size. Unless you guys think we should just recommend.
I mean, it is a really big building, so I could see how like it might be challenging to, like, if you didn't know.
Yeah, it actually helps direct people to the service area. Having driven.
But I
there.
mean, I think like ordinarily I would say, yeah, it seems really big, but I think when I think about the context of the building and the vastness of like, well, where do you turn in? Or,
What services do they have at quick lane?
I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's 100% necessary to have all of those.
And I
things.
don't, is this is the existing?
Oh, yeah, see, that's what I was thinking of.
I mean, that doesn't look like that's 20 feet tall.
Oh, right, yeah, I mean, it looks like there's a house behind it too. I mean, not that they can see the sign that directly, but.
Right up there.
I
But
mean, they
this
already
is
have.
interesting, this
It's a
Grid.
fence. I mean, yeah.
the
Yeah,
picture.
you figure, like the
Some
people
comment?
like across the street and off to the side, they already have a car dealership next to them and, in a service center. I don't know if they need an extra, maybe a sign wouldn't matter, but.
But isn't it, I thought the sign was coming down, the existing one, and they're putting a new one in.
Yeah, but they're
Right.
gonna replace it with a 20 by 6 sign.
Oh, okay, oh, yeah, all right. I thought you were
Yeah.
thinking there was two signs.
It's gonna be a little farther back, I think, based on the site plan.
So what do you want to do, board?
So the issue is really that it's two signs, right?
Mhm.
Well, and that the size is larger than what we allow.
It's just the two signs. Good question about the size.
Right.
If added the volume of the two signs or something like that, yeah. Well, and then also probably they have a sign on the building, of course, too, and not even considering that, so.
Which I do feel like it's a little bit set back from the street, so like I could see how it'd be maybe hard to be paying attention to the signs on the building if you didn't know where it was.
The sign matches the building a little better than the old one. It's the same amount of illumination. But if we don't like it, we can say we don't like it. If we like it, we can say we like it.
Is it the same amount of illumination, or is that whole?
Looks
that
pretty much, I
whole
mean,
thing?
no, if you look at the picture, just that top part illuminates.
Okay, yeah.
And
Well, we can
and
make
I
sure
mean,
that's the
I
case.
can't, I'd say it's pretty close to the existing, but you know, they don't give us dimensions on it, but it's in the same. If you look in their application, there was a photo of it at night.
Did I miss it? Is it that sign that we just were looking at, the exact same thing in the two locations? Am I understanding it correctly?
I think that the northern, or I'm assuming it's the northern sign on the plan, there's the existing Ford sign to remain.
remain, right, so.
Oh, okay, so it's just on the other.
Yeah, the one that Stephanie just showed is coming
Yeah.
down and then being replaced.
Right.
You have the picture of it at night, Stephanie, handy?
That's what I was just looking for, Greg.
It was, I just had it on mine. I can,
There's okay, so there's the sign. You can see that way back here. And I'm guessing this is probably 20 feet here, right? That looks a bit higher. It's a little difficult. Wait a minute, am I going the wrong direction now?
Well, I mean, my thing with the new one is
I don't-
that it's like, it's tripling the size.
want me to
of
share my
the-
screen real quick, just to show you?
Yeah.
I have it up, so.
Stop. Yeah.
I think that given the location.
You guys see it?
and the use,
Nope.
it has some certain
You
logic.
can't see it?
No,
Oh,
you know, there's no screen share going on right now.
let me try this again. Oh, here we go, all right. Yeah. Did that work?
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
So just to give it, I'll go back. So here's
that helps a lot.
that stays, right? This guy stays.
Yeah.
That's the existing, it's sideways. But so see this top part, that's, you know, whatever. I mean, it's a little smaller than this, but it's kind of, this is a little taller. Anyway, so that's what they're proposing. And that matches the drawing that they provided.
Are those McDonald arches? Oh, that's not this
yeah,
site.
that's
I'm
not
like,
there.
what? You can see that all the way from there. It's down in.
I think the
Raymond.
person that did this logo also did Pat Patriot. I'm seeing a little bit of the Flying Elvis logo.
Yeah,
I think
that looks like a chicken.
it kind of does.
You got to get to a new restaurant.
I would I'd be in favor of recommending. I guess I would also just say that I would want it to match, not be any taller in height than the existing Ford sign. And since there's no, like, we don't know what the dimensions are of the other signs, I don't know if
Let's see if we can. That's the existing Ford sign. But yeah, I mean, there's no real way that they're pretty close, right? So
I think they're probably pretty close,
Yeah.
but given that there's not a actual dimension.
it's 20 feet tall, and the Ford is
We don't know.
yeah. I'd say the Ford is 18 feet tall. But are we realistically gonna? It looks like a pretty standard sign. Are we gonna be able to get them to reduce the height of it? Or but you can try if you want.
Well, I think we could just say a similar height.
Sure.
Oh, well, yeah, we
So,
can.
would you like to put that in
Right,
motion for
special
us?
permit, so.
Sure. A motion to endorse, are we like?
Yeah, recommend.
Motion to recommend sign as presented, assuming that the existing Ford sign is approximately a similar height.
Work your magic, Suzanne.
Seconds, Stetson.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Strange eye.
Shane, I.
Stetson, aye.
Bell Sarah.
Very good. Next is 144 Center Street, existing house that they want to take down. It's a pre-existing non-conforming lot of about 28,000 feet. And they're replacing it with a larger house, but placed about 42 feet back from the property line at the closest driveway. And it's not that it's on here, not that, but I saw through, it's a Cape style house, similar kind of lines of what's there, but more modern and bigger, but it's before us because the lot's less than 40,000.
Where is it roughly on
Center, it's going, if you're leaving from heading towards the monument, it's on the right-hand side. And it's a little bit after St. Mark's, if you know where that, like, you know, where the old, like past Spooner Street. Let me zoom in here on them.
Oh, yeah.
Down that neck of the woods. Let's see. It is, if this doesn't pixelate too bad.
It's just south of, just north of Standley Road, if that helps.
Yep. Yeah, it's sort of right. It's, you know, when you go past all those houses, all those, you know, like Spooner, all those streets on the right, there's like 5 or 6 of them. This is right in between the last 2. So it's
So is a pre-existing non-conforming lot, you know, is that a hardship enough that in general we would recommend that?
We've done, yeah, I mean, we've done this
Yeah.
a lot before. And I would say, and I'm looking, it's not on here, but I would say the house, I'm just seeing it now, it's not here either. The house in scale is in keeping with, you know, roughly with what's in that area, so.
Yep.
So are we just voting?
This is for a variance to allow the construction because the lot's too small. So that's what the variance is for. They want to demolish the existing house and put up a new one. But so that
And otherwise they would have to build in the same footprint, or no?
yeah, but without digging into voluntary demolition, would they might still need a variance, or maybe, or do you get that?
Yeah,
for
I
2
don't know,
years?
yeah.
I'm not sure.
There's a certain size, a certain percentage, I believe, that is allowed at the discretion of the building.
Yeah, within right, and but I also
think
think
it's
the voluntary
100%.
demolition. I think the voluntary demolition triggers this.
Right.
Yeah, there's the house right there. So on the right there.
And I'm assuming this is over 75 years. I can't remember if Wayne said.
It is. It's going before historical on
Right.
Wednesday night.
Yep. It really, I mean, to Greg's point, it's not out of line, and the lots, even the lot sizes kind of vary throughout that area, but you have a lot of much smaller lots on the west side of Center Street, just south.
Right, and it's the post. It has that one of those garages that come forward a little bit, you know, as you see in the site plan, and that's 42 feet. So that's, I'd say that's pretty close to where the house is now, give or take. So.
I think the only objection that I have doesn't really have anything to do with probably the issue that what we're supposed to be considering, like lot size and so forth. It's just that I still hate to see, like, every time there's another house that gets knocked down, especially, on Center Street, even if this isn't, you know, the most amazing, in great condition house, or I don't know what the circumstances are. I just think, you know, it changes the character, and maybe for the better, maybe not, I don't know, but.
Well, as a member of the Historical Commission, I certainly wouldn't fault you for that, and I would recommend that you attend the virtual hearing on Wednesday night of the Historical Commission, because that's where that comment can make a difference. But you're right. I mean, it's not really our purview, but well, I guess it can.
Motion to recommend.
I knew that was
second. Stetson.
Thank you.
Is there a second? And we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, strange eye.
DeShane, aye.
Stetson, aye.
Balsaric, aye.
Amos, next to your name, oh, it's gone now. There was a green arrow pointing up. I'm like, wonder what that, oh, you were sharing a screen. Were you sharing the screen, Amos?
I stopped the sharing.
I never noticed that before. That it does that. All right.
Yeah, he took control there.
Why does the agenda keep closing?
So we have the minutes, but Suzanne emailed the minutes to us. But
Oh, we
they're
didn't
not
get
on
them in
the
time.
agenda.
Do you guys want to push
Late.
it back?
It was late.
Oh, they're there.
And-
I see. Sorry, page 2. Sorry, Greg, you take it over.
But so.
But we
since you
need,
didn't-
where's the housing production plan?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, but Peter opened
Okay.
his trap about the minutes, so I had to go to it. No.
The
Yeah,
only
no,
mistake I found on the minutes was that I'm not in attendance, yet I voted to adjourn the
Okay.
meeting, so.
Oh, really? Okay.
A magical power you have.
Yeah.
So do we want to wait on the minutes till our next meeting? We can, if we want to.
Sure.
All right, we'll hold off on those. Housing production plan discussion and vote. Stephanie?
The board's comments were incorporated into the plan. I sent a link on Friday to everyone to the plan. I'm hoping everyone had an opportunity to review that, and the board is ready to vote to adopt.
Hmm.
I read them. Anybody want to make a motion? Or is there any
Motion
questions
to
or
adopt
comments
the
on it?
housing production plan.
Second, Stetson.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, Strange eye.
Shane, aye.
Stetson, aye.
Balsaric, aye.
Karen, aye.
Discussion solar voltaic installation. Are we gonna push that to the next one? Didn't we talk about that?
Well, this, what was, when the
Oh, go ahead.
board
Whatever you had in
voted to
mind.
pull it, it was agreed that there would be some discussion about it. Again, that it wasn't just going to die. The next meeting, although we kind of need to talk about that, Greg, because right now we have 20 South Street, which really looks like they're going to be ready to close at the next meeting. We had a meeting with the peer reviewer last Monday. And basically he just let them know they were extremely close. They needed to make a couple of a few more changes and tweaks, and they'd be ready. And Walter got on top of that. It's just that it needs to be put in, all the grading needs to be shown. There's some grading changes. The constructed wetlands should probably end up being a little bit smaller. But in any case, I expect that the next meeting, which they've continued to the 6th, would be the opportunity to come back and kind of refresh the boards.
Yeah, I would remind ourselves, I know you see this plan, you've been dealing with this a lot.
Right.
We haven't seen it. This board
That's
hasn't
right.
seen it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's necessarily accurate to think that we're going to be able to close.
I'm not-
this
and I'm not
tonight, 'cause
thinking
I don't think that's
closing.
fair to the board.
Right, and I'm not even thinking closing, but
Oh, I thought you
that
just said
they're
that.
they're needing to do the, represent this to everybody.
Sure. Well,
And
so
we need a
here's the thing.
full-
First of all, let me just jump back. Let's close up. So discussion on the photovoltaic installation. We are going to get back to that, but Stephanie and I were talking the other day, and especially Stephanie, she was been swamped with town meeting. I had to do a little bit of town meeting. We had a big summit regarding some planning issues on this past weekend that we were both at. So we're like, in a couple of meetings, we'll circle back on the solar voltaic, but we got to kind of dig out from a couple other things. So that had to get pulled for all the reasons we discussed, but we'll dig back into that very soon. So I will not be here on the 6th. I have to miss our next meeting. I'm gonna be in the hospital. So so that's that. But so I don't see South Street closing that night, but I certainly and not because of that. I know what some of the changes are, and I think there's going to have to be a little bit of tweaking on the plan. But I want the board to be able to see that, before they, say that. And then what else do we have coming up?
So 560 Foundry Street has continued to the 6th. And I was I was a little skeptical that that would actually come back to the board on that date, but we had a meeting with the conservation agent and their wetlands people and the wetland, I'm sorry, the wildlife biologist. That's kind of where this project was all hung up, because there were alterations to wildlife habitat and others, but it seemed like a very positive meeting. And they're continued to the 6th with the Conservation Commission. Again, it's not going to close, and I certainly didn't expect it would close for the planning board. But what I expected, again, it would be the representation to the board of the project, which you folks haven't seen in well over a year, almost 2 years. So again, I think it's important for all members to be there. And I think at this point, and Suzanne can pipe up, but I think we may have 2 members that aren't eligible to vote because of the missed meetings, but if they present it all anew, which they need to do anyway, then that requalifies everyone. So I think it makes sense to make sure that we do that at a meeting where all the members are going to be able to.
What do you mean if they present all anew? Is there a different filing they have to do or something? I've never heard of this.
No, it's if you lose a quorum of your voting members due to they either are new to the board or they have missed meetings, you can only do, is it 2 Mullen forms?
1.
And it's 1, they can only do 1 Mullen form to be disqualified from the vote. However, if the applicant comes in and you discuss, they present the project like it was a new project, which in a sense they're going to need to do because it's been so long anyway. And then the board has discussion around it, then all the members attending and who continue to participate in the hearing can vote.
So then let's push them to the 27th. We've waited this long, and if they're still not wrapped up with Concom anyways, because I still think even though they'll be representing,
yeah,
it'll be slightly different lot
Right.
shapes. I mean, it'll still be
Right.
quick with this board, I think, because it's still in essence the same project. It's just tweaked
Yeah.
a little. So why don't we just, to avoid an issue there, why don't we go to the 27th?
Okay.
Assuming we don't have a mass amount of people missing on the 27th. Okay. All right. What else that night?
So, I mean, those were the big ones.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. And we can talk some more about that anyways if we have.
Yeah.
I should, for whatever it's worth, I should just say that my daughter has a music performance on June 6th at 7. So I can probably,
It's better for
it's not going to take up the whole night, but like, I don't know if it helps to join in late, or I might be able to do like 15 minutes beforehand or like of the beginning.
Can you be playing an instrument during your presentation?
I
can-
Oh, yeah, let's just, Stephanie and I,
Yeah,
it's getting
fine.
late. It's
Yeah,
getting late, so
let's-
we'll
yeah.
take a look at the schedule and I mean, the agenda. Stephanie and I can talk. I don't want to take everybody's time up with this, so. It's been a long night. So just quickly, I just wanted to say, oh, I'm sorry, Stephanie, are you done? I didn't mean to cut you off.
That was it.
Okay, so just, Chancellor, just quick, if you didn't know, we had a very successful night at town meeting. Everything from a planning standpoint and everything from a CPA standpoint passed overwhelmingly. And Connor didn't even have to do his budget presentation, which for those of us who have to go to town meeting, or we enjoy going to town meeting, for those of it's always fun to get out an hour and a half earlier than that, because zoning, I'm usually presenting zoning at like 11:15 at night, and it was like 8:30, and there was a spring in my step.
I think everyone felt that way. It was very upbeat.
That's the first time ever in 17 years. Like, holy moly.
It
So
was really,
anyways, thank you guys. I know we've had really long meetings lately, but I think hopefully they'll be getting pared down a little bit here soon. I appreciate all your time. And that's why I'm really gonna, you know what, one thing we need to start thinking about is, and maybe it's something I can help out with or something, because I know stuff, you get so bombed with stuff, but without naming names, we've had certain projects in front of us recently that have been woefully unprepared. And it's like, there's just certain requirements that need to be on plans. And then, so if we're gonna just have to discover those ahead of time, it used to be easier because we had paper copies and we could see them, and it's just not the same online. But, so I think we could I could try to figure out something on that, because if I don't have to sit here and tell people, hey, A, B, C, and D are supposed to be on this plan.
It might just be if we just, just like the rules and regulations, if we just made the rules and regulations actually easier to read, or just like, have like a list of things you need without like a paragraph about each item, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but,
So
but it's
again, I
actually
don't-
in there. Those are in there. And you know what, we're not, look at, this is Easton. We're not, now in one project I'm thinking about, we do have an engineer who I don't recall him ever working in this town. So that may be part of it. And I agree, we could tweak our rules and regs a little. I think that's overdue. But I even checked this the other day to see if the requirements are all in there, and it's pretty much the same that all towns have. I mean, this isn't like we're, and I don't want to sit here and be, Johnny Stickler for the rules. And I know my aggravation comes through sometimes, but because I'm like, it's just a huge waste of everybody's time. We all have day jobs, and I really appreciate you guys coming out and spending these nights. But if people did their homework ahead of time, we could be out here so much quicker. So
Greg, if I could, and I don't want to elongate this meeting any longer than necessary. Suzanne and I have been talking about this. And one of the things that Jennifer has implemented on the conservation side is she has checklists for every application that people need to submit for. And Suzanne has drafted those. We are going to put those on the website. So that should help with people. So instead of having them sort through the rules and regulations, we will have a checklist. And we did also make a reference to the rules and regulations and the subdivision handbook. Very prominent on the website. And that will be like the first step on the checklist is, did you check the subdivision rules and regs? And here's everything that you need.
And just for the heck of it, I mean, if you go to all that effort, maybe it would be beneficial to send it to us ahead of time.
Yes.
Not that we have to
Yes.
check everything, but we look at all these things, and someone might, Deb or Pete, especially Peter, he's like, he's the McGruff, the crime dog when it comes to projects.
Absolutely.
Like that. So hey, I woke up Stetson with that one, so that was good. So,
I'm
but
not
then
sleeping
just,
yet.
I think if you ran that by us, that might be, something might come. You never know, right? So I
Yes,
think
as my son, the chef, would say in a kitchen, it's heard. I heard it.
there
We
you
will
go.
do that. We will do that.
Okay, so we're good. That's all I've got. Stephanie, you have anything else?
No.
Who wants to take us home?
Motion to adjourn, Stetson.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, strange eye.
Sarah guy.
Stetson, aye.
Good night.
Good night,
Thanks, guys.
everybody.
I really appreciate
Good night,
it.
everyone.
I'm gonna be very careful when I go outside now, make sure I'm not being haunted in my driveway. This job doesn't pay sometimes. All right.
Good night, everyone. I'm
all.
ending the meeting.
Good night.